Okay, I think it started, right? Yeah, cool.
Yep.
And maybe before we dive, I see Ethan has, maybe quick introduction, what and who is
Yeah,
Flock,
that's
because we didn't
that's
do
more.
that at the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's my point. That's my point. Quick introduction. A small roundtable on our side because we have 2 hours. Let's just let people know who are we each individually and also the project and the company. I mean, Nick, you would you like to introduce Frog
Yeah.
or me? Yeah.
So first, a bit myself. I think I've already like walked through that. Like I'm leading the engineering team at Flock. I've been working in like AI stuff for about like 6, 7 years so far. So yeah, so at Flock, I think we are focusing on the private AI and sovereign AI. So essentially, we are trying to bring an AI solution to large organizations, to large enterprises who still haven't understand or like know how to integrate AI into their existing solution. We are also providing like an alternative solution comparing to the existing proprietary AI provider like OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini. We are also like helping organizations to integrate like open source AI so that they have like a full control over their solution. So I think that's what we do. We also leverage something we call like federal learning and blockchain technology to help organizations to train and own their own AI without sacrificing their data privacy. I think that's the mission of Flock here. So yeah, I will first pass to like Ifan. I think everyone knows Ifan pretty well, but anyway, I think we can start with Ifan to give like
Mm.
a brief self introduction.
So first of all, I'm the oldest, I think, among here, probably one of the oldest. So I'm one that who can actually remember when I was first time using calculator to do homework. I feel guilty because calculator, you don't need to do the math anymore. Like you press the number. And now I think this is the third time I feel guilty because I'm using AI to generate a slide. So just to give a echo of the time, because when I first time using calculator, it was like in the early 90s, and the first time when I used Google search, it was in the early 20s. Now 40 years later since using calculator, now we're using AI to do all kind of things. In a way, we feel guilty. In a way, we feel fake, but at the same time, trying to find a way to use them. So I think this would actually come back to my point of my slides, because some of the application clearly is related to the sustainable development goals. So I think that's more about me. I'm deeply involved in managing and steering the project in Core 2. Very likely to also get involved in Core 3. I'll pass on to Zhou.
Hello. This is Zhao. I'm currently working on more from the AI research side. I'm kind of working with, I mean, directly deal with the hidden or the intrinsic mechanism behind the AI. We will directly focus on how we improve the performance from the speeds and the efficiency or the overall performance on a specific kind of task. It's like nearly like 9 years ago, I was only during my undergrad, I won my first grand challenge in the ACM-MM. And during that time, I just think, okay, so actually what we actually focus on is trying to build the AI from a very preliminary or a very preliminary question, how to improve the image classifier to classify the cats and dogs. And right now we are using the large language model to do very complicated stuff. And today we would like to discuss about how this kind of AI is driven by some specific kind of mechanism. And that's all from my side. I will give back to Tiff.
Oh, hi. Hello everyone. I know most of you. Like we just had a research call and also the call on co-host 3. I'm Tiffany here, leading head of EMEA region, and it's really a pleasure that I've been working with UNDP team in the last, I think, a year, right? Almost a year. And we're very looking forward to our, even closer collaboration in many more perspectives in this year. I will just give it the floor to Vincent.
Hey guys, Vincent here. Yeah, I know a lot of people here, right? So I'm the CFO of Flock. I oversee strategy, finance, and compliance. I'm not a tech person, like many of you do. So yeah, I will get to. I think that's everyone from our side, right? Ray's not here yet. Cool. I'll get back to Ifan.
Um, let's start with the
No,
presentation.
let's do,
Subi?
let's give it to Nick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep. Let me share my screen. As Ethan mentioned, right, nowadays even slides are built by AI. So actually, I will use like two slides to work through like different topic, and one is built by like a closed source AI like Gemini, and the other is built by a open source solution like a Kimi. So we can actually compare them as well. So yeah, can everyone see my screen at the moment?
Yeah.
So I think on my like first topic, I'm more going to like look back and let's like have a quick recap on what has been going on like in the last like 6 7 years, and how does AI like evolved in the past few years. So I think to give a executive summary for like what has been going on, uh, we basically scaled from something we call like era of emergence, where we start to identify, okay, AI is so capable, to the age of agency, which is today, where AI start to reason, act, plan by themselves. Large infrastructure got built, and AI can work on behalf of themselves for like hours, days to solve problem, to take actual action. So I think that's simple like summarization of what has been going on. So in the era of emergency, where that happens in like 2019 to like 2022, is basically all the researchers start to find, okay, if we make the model larger and larger, that's where you heard like some model parameter is like 7 billion, some model parameter is like 100 billion. That's those kind of large number you start to hear about AI. So and when I started to work on AI, I still remember like we consider something as large model when its model size is something like 200 million. But nowadays, if you say, the model parameter size is 200 million, right? It's essentially a tiny model that runs on your phone or something. So things has been like evolved like very quickly. So nowadays we even consider like a 7 billion model a small one. But back in like 2020, 2019, there's no like such model, like model that is 7 billion. Because at that moment the hardware, the GPU from NVIDIA, the GPU from Google, like something we call TPU, they are not able to train and whatever.
Come, joke was out. Come. It's very rude. Not very
but you're in
the call.
Comes the
poor guy.
Guys, you have your microphone on.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Anyway, I will continue. So I don't know. Is this hijacked by some AI agents? Yeah. So anyway, I will just continue here. Like so I think at that era, basically people identify, okay, if we simply increase the model size from 200 million to 500 million, essentially to 1 billion, the AI model can simply become more capable. Like it's going to be stronger and stronger. So that's the era of emergency. And within the era of deployments, I think historical events happen. That's the launch of ChatGPT. I think I can still remember when ChatGPT is launched, I basically tried it and say, okay, we are, it's pretty much the end of the story, because a lot of models we've been building like a pre-ChatGPT era. We've been trying to build like a lot of like a natural language solution, for example, like AI summarization, those kind of stuff, right? Creative writing. At pre like ChatGPT era, we basically tailored a lot of solution for a lot of things. We build models for different kind of NLP tasks.
Sorry to
But
interrupt, Nick.
once
We can't see the deck. There's
Oh, you can see it.
something wrong. Yeah.
Oh, can you see it now?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So suddenly, suddenly, like all of those problems was solved by a single model called like ChatGPT, right? And we are seeing like a mass adoption of AI. People that is not in the industry, that is not in the tech, start to use the AI solution. I think directly, right? Like before the ChatGPT era, everyone is using AI implicitly, because AI is recommending the ads to you, is recommending whatever next words to you, but you are not like actually directly using AI. But since the launch of ChatGPT, people start to directly use AI solution. And then we come to like the current age, which is the era of agency, right? You are now even seeing AI writing its own code, AI, buying stuff for themselves, AI, run task on behalf of you, and AI, build this whole like presentation deck by themselves, right? Or interactively. So what exactly is like scaling, the scaling era or the scaling law? Like simply put, basically researchers identify that, okay, if you simply provide more compute when you train model, right? Which means that you either increase the parameters or you increase the number of data used to train the model, you will get better performance. So that's why even till today, we are still seeing all this, requirements or demands for AI infrastructure, because even today, like all this tech company, right, they are seeking for more computing powers, because more computing powers means more powerful model. So I think this
Nick, the
still
text disappear again.
oh. So I think this
Nick, maybe
holds.
you just send the deck to me, and I will just deliver in the group, and then people can see it as well when they're listening to the demo.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's the simple explanation of like scaling law. We can see like in 2019 when GPT-2 launched, right? It's like 1.5 billion. Still at that time, this is like a gigantic number. Like I've never seen a model that is like 1.5 billion in size. But to like 2020, where GPT-3 get launched, the number already becomes like 175 billion. But if you see it in the real mirror, you actually think, okay, 175 billion is a small number, right? Because nowadays, even though we don't know the specific number of parameters for a proprietary model, we know the cutting edge open source model is already exceeding 1 trillion in like model parameters. So this is the scaling law we are saying. So what exactly happened like before the launch of ChatGPT? So people basically found, okay, instead of scaling the size, instead of just putting more data to train the model, we actually identified, we actually find a gap between the implementation and the model training. Basically, AI start to know more and more things because of the size and because of the data used to train. But how do we make AI usable by humans, right? How do we make AI output things or follow the instruction provided by human so that we have a product like ChatGPT, right? Um, Essentially, people invented some technology which is built on top of something we call reinforcement learning. I think most of people must have heard about this RLHF. Reinforcement learning from human feedback is essentially the technology that makes GPT-3 into ChatGPT. The mechanism is fairly simple. Uh, Basically, we are asking AI to output different answers for the same prompt, and we are simply asking human to rank their preference among the answers from AI. So let's say like the AI ask what's the weather today, right? And the user asks like what's the weather today, right? And the AI A answers, okay, I don't know. Like AI B answers some random number, right? AIC answers, okay, sorry, I don't have the connection to the internet and I cannot answer that precisely for you, right? Clearly, like people would prefer like answer three because that's the truth, right? And also it provides a detailed explanation on like why I cannot answer such question, right? So you simply say, okay, I prefer the third question. And when you input such human preference into the AI training, magic happens. So suddenly, like ChatGPT can answer your question and can provide the question that human prefers instead of the answers that answered naively by AI, right? It start to generate output and answers that actually preferred by human beings and becomes very readable and becomes very interactive. Also, in the middle of this evolution, right? I think people start to rethink. Okay, instead of building a larger model, the Google delivered a paper like and a model called Chinchilla. It discovered a lot of like areas in scaling law. So instead of like simply scaling in model size, people and researchers also find, okay, training data now becomes the next scaling frontier. So given the same size of data, maybe like 17 billion is the maximum, number of parameter you can build. Now it's time to scaling the data. That's why we always hear, okay, data is the new oil in this era, right? Because given the same amount of model size, more data is almost more high quality data. More high quality data is always better. So scaling law, remember, like it means two things. Uh, the more parameters, the better, and more training data, the better. So that's why like large companies, tech enterprise, they're not only seeking for more computing power, but they're also seeking for monopoly in your data. And that's also like I think one vision from Flock, right? We believe that you should own your own data because that's what makes the AI capable. Yeah. So going to the next slide, I think we are seeing mass adoption during the ChatGPT era. The whole product reached 600 million users, simply in like 2 to 3 years. We've never seen any product, any SaaS in the human history that can, grow this amount of user in such a short time. So, based on our like everyday usage, we can definitely say like I personally don't think AI is a bubble because if like tomorrow you basically tells everyone, okay, you're not allowed to use any like AI solution anymore, I don't think people is able to go back. I think that's my opinion. That's my 2 cents here. Also like in that era we start to looking into something we call like multimodality. I think that's a buzzword we heard like a lot of times recently. It's simply like AI nowadays not only has can read, it also can see and understand image, right? And also it now is start to the frontier model where we call like omni model, right? Starting from GPT 4.0, it can understand text, can understand vision, image, it can understand audio, right? Nowadays, the newest model can even understand like a spatial, can understand like spatial stuff. So that's the future of AI. Basically, a unified model that can understand the word just like human, right? Because we listen, we read, we see, we also like we can sense the 3D space, right? And that's the future of AI as well. And also we are when we use the AI model, right? We always it always say, okay, it has context length up to how much token. So this number is also exploding, right? So in 2019, in 2020, right? AI can only read a simple piece of news, so which is around like 700 words, right? English words. And to like 2023, it can already read a novel, right? A short, a small book, right? That's maybe like 80K words, right? But nowadays, like people's all the new model, right? They are offering 1 million context lengths, meaning that they can understand and they can reasoning on top of almost whatever like a huge amount of resources, right? That is like a 700K words. They can understand in one shot. So, uh, what's the meaning of this, right? So essentially, it's like AI has longer and longer memory. They can, when you ask something, you can provide a lot of reference, right? And it can help you and to organize and think and logic, reasoning on a huge amount of information. That's actually what human is capable of doing previously, but now AI is capable of doing this in an even like faster and more precise way. Right? Um, so I think in the recent 2 years, the buzzword is agent or something we call agentic AI, right? So what exactly does agentic AI mean? And it's simply AI starting to from simply answer your question to take action. So that's the definition of agents. So agents is AI model starting to take action to finalize the task you assign to them. So let's give a very brief explanation here. I can still use the example like let's say like tell me what's the weather today, right? So previously, if without agentic AI, right? So the model simply cannot answer your question, right? Because the model doesn't know what the day is today, right? It definitely doesn't have any connection to internet, so it cannot search whatever weather data for you. So even a data is trying to answer you, is just giving some bullshit, right? But in agentic AI, it's a different story. So AI can now leverage tools and take actions. So when I say tools, right, it's like something like Google search. It's something like an API call, right? It's something like a file search on your like laptop. So when the thing simply change. When you ask AI, okay, what's the weather today? the AI basically say, okay, this is a question that I cannot answer directly. And here are some tools available for me to use, like Google search. And I believe to answer users' query, I need to take action. I need to open the browser and search what's the weather today in Toronto, in like London, right? And I will basically browsing the web pages. I will grab the data from the web pages and try to answer and get the answer. And now I see, okay, the weather, it's like, 20 degree. And now I can formulate an answer that solves user's query, right? So this is a simple agentic use cases. But nowadays, this thing goes to like way, way, way more fancier, right? Like we are seeing AIs continuously use hundreds of tools, right? It's not only doing a simple web search, right? It does a lot of web search. It write codes, right? It write codes for themselves to execute a task, and also it runs code. It get the answer and the results from the code running, and it do further research. It do further web search, further like API calls, and take different actions. So this is the era of agency, right? Because AI nowadays, the model has some capability we call reasoning, which is evolving from like system 1 reasoning to system 2 reasoning. So system 1 thinking and system 2 thinking is actually a concept from like cognitive science. So system 1 thinking is something we call like a fast thinking. So it's almost like the human nature or like a nature reaction to stuff. Uh, it's like asking you to do something like a really simple, like simply answer like what is like a 1+1, right? So you don't really need to think deep to get the answer. Like when people ask you to grab that whatever cup from the table, right? Your brain can naturally react without like doing some deep thinking or deep reasoning. So this is something we call like system 1 thinking. So for system 2 thinking is when people ask you to formulate an essay, explain the logic of something, right? It's more like solving a complex mathematic problem, right? Or people ask you to provide a strategy analysis of certain geopolitical events, right? You don't have a simple answer for that. The thing you do is that you do research, you organize all the information, and you do reasoning in your brain, and you give an answer after you reason on all the information you collect and all the information that is inside your head. So this is something we call like system 2 thinking. So nowadays AI evolved from simple system 1 thinking to like a complex reasoning. So that's the launch of OpenAI o1. So this is the first model that start to use reasoning. But nowadays, like almost all the model, right? You can, when you're using ChatGPT or you're using Gemini, you are seeing the small, whatever indicators says, okay, the model is thinking, right? So the model is not human's brain, it's not actually thinking. It's basically internally model is outputting the something we call like reasoning path to give a more concrete and more capable answer. Also another thing, like as an engineer here, another frontier or another awesome application of agentic AI is agentic software engineering, right? So in 2021, even in 2024, the way like we use AI is simply auto completion, right? It's basically you type some code and the AI suggests what's coming next, right? So, but in 2025, late 2025, and today, right, we are seeing AI work on like repository, work on projects, work on applications autonomously for hours, for days. They can actually do software engineering from zero code, right? From a simple product specification, and they can build everything autonomously. So this will also lead to some exponential growth of software and applications. I think that this is something I can cover in the next slides for when we discuss the future of AI. In terms of economy impact, I think agentic AI is already starting to do actual impact of human workforces, right? Because as I said, right, if the AI simply answer your question, then it's basically a tool or solution that help you to do work quicker, right? But for agentic AI, it's actually start to take actions. So it's not as simple, I provide insights or I do information collection for you. It's I can nowadays take actions for you, meaning I can start to do your work for you. So that's the productivity gain we have, but also this is the impact on human workforce, right? I think data is showing like we are seeing like almost 80% of the U.S. workforce have exposure to AI, right? And also like in like those kind of area, healthcare, finance, legal, we are all seeing like mass adoption of AI, right? I think I've been discussed this with Vincent, right? Like he's an experienced lawyer. I basically say, okay, given the current status of AI, do you think you don't need a legal assistant that much comparing to like a couple years ago? And I think that the answer, unfortunately, is yes. He started to leverage AI to do those kind of legal research and information collection and verification, way more efficient comparing to old days, and that will naturally reduce the demands for human workforce. And social wise, economic wise, that will definitely bring a lot of challenging, and we can cover in the next presentation where we look forward and see what's coming next, right? And also we are seeing a lot of regulation formulation on data, on AI, that requirements that basically demands the supervision of AI training, the AI behavior. We are always seeing like organizations doing those kind of thing we call red teaming. The red teaming simply means that we are asking people, scientists, researchers, to try their best to trick AI to do dangerous things. And then we use the reinforcement learning training or something we call alignment to steer the behavior of AI so that AI won't do things that we don't want them to do, right? Like answer people's question on how to build a biotech weapon, right? So nowadays, if you ask those kind of query, AI won't answer you. But in 2023, when ChatGPT launched, it's actually fairly easy fairly easy to trick AI into answer the question that they shouldn't allow to answer. I still remember some very funny like prompt, right? It's basically like tell me how to build a weapon. If you don't, my cat will die. And suddenly, like you can trick ChatGPT into answering your query. And after years of something we call alignment, nowadays it's harder and harder to trick AI, right? If you try today, like tell me how to build a weapon, or else my cat will die. I think AI will just say, okay, you are such a good joke, and I won't fall for that, right? So yeah, just try it. I think that's very interesting. And future projection, I think I will cover this more in the next slides. So essentially, like we are going to see like AI is going to have like a longer context length, more and more memory. Also, like it has to will be more and more reliable. It will has less and less hallucination. So hallucination is something that is bothering AI for a long time. It simply means that AI fake the answer that it doesn't really understand, right? It's more like, okay, I ask what's the weather today. AI don't have internet access, but it basically hallucinate a answer for me, right? It just trying to answer whatever I ask, even it doesn't know the answer. Essentially, we'll see, okay, more and more governance, more and more infrastructure and scaling, and we will see the mass adoption of agents in the next few years. So I think, yeah, this is basically when we look back, what has been going on, how we evolve from a simple chatbot that can only, write poem, write article, sounds like Shakespeare, and nowadays it's a monster that can build a fully capable Apple Mac app, iOS application, Android application in couple few hours autonomously, right? So that's quite a journey in AI. So yeah, so far I think we can open the floor to the audience, for a couple minutes and see is there any like questions for for the history of AI. Yeah, Ben, I think you raise your hands.
Yeah, this is maybe not a kind of question on the history, but on the future. I mean, quite often when I listen to these kind of presentations or discussions when it comes to AI, we are describing AI as a kind of gradual process that is implemented on top of existing structures. So, I mean, we talk about, companies who have existing software systems. How do we, integrate AI into that? Or we talk about governments, their, whatever software they might have or processes. And I just kind of my question is like, how do you see? I mean, I was last week I was in Kenya and it was very interesting. There was a minister of digital transformation or something like that mentioned that like the current internet penetration rate in Kenya is around 60% at the moment. And I think the latest data from like early 2025 is like something below 50%. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of interesting from your perspective as somebody who is working with this technology. How do you approach like adoption in these kinds of contexts where those kind of existing structures upon which we would apply new technologies don't necessarily even exist? I know it's a difficult question, but just to kind of like get your view on it or some kind of insights or guesses.
Yeah. So I think that's a very good question actually. So I think actually I have some very interesting opinion on this. So even before I think even in the before like I think 3 months or like 4 months ago, if you ask this question, I will actually give a very different answer. Like because I believe it takes a lot of times to actually go down to the industry, go down to the company level and the software level to integrate the AI solution, right? You need to do a lot of like tweaking, a lot of training, a lot of stuff to make the existing or traditional industry to adopt AI to do like those kind of mass adoption, right? So it takes times, it take years of times, maybe just like when internet invented, right? Like when something cloud infrastructure like AWS and whatever Google Cloud invented, right? The whole software engineering industry actually spans like more than 10 years to shift from building your own like server at home to shifting to a cloud native deployment, right? Development, right? So I think previously I saw that will be the same story for AI, like it takes times to do like implementation, it takes time to do deploy, stuff like that. But I think since I've never seen a technology that advanced so quick, like AI. I think Sam Altman actually posted a phrase, right? It says like gently then suddenly, right? I think that's precisely what is happening for AI. Like suddenly you are seeing the massive jump of the capability of AI model. I can give you a very simple example. So even 6 months ago, right, there is a very legit and strong like legal startup that raised millions of dollars, right? What it's trying to do is that it's trying to integrate AI models into the existing lawyer's workflow, which is integrate the AI into Microsoft Words. That's what Vincent used, right? So it's at that moment I think, okay, that's something very interesting, right? It's basically you sit down, you build a solution that can integrate into the existing workflow and the existing software used by lawyers, right? It's not a trivial thing. It's actually a pretty hard, right? You need to basically build a whole solution to instruct AI how to edit the Microsoft Words document, right? And this is the adoption that we're trying to see, right? Because it's non-intrusive, right? It's basically you're just flowing all the lawyers still use words, right? They are just I'm not asking them to switch to a new solution, right? It's just slowly integrate into your existing workflow, right? Like you mentioned, like it's a method that slowly converting your existing workflow to AI assisted workflow, right? And but suddenly, right, this year or like 2 months ago, the new generation of model, they naturally have the capability of, writing code and making edits to Microsoft Words, to Microsoft Excel, to all those kind of tools. It can even start to use the computer like the way human use. What's the meaning of that? The meaning of that is that instead of tweaking the AI solution, tweaking the AI model, building the SaaS that slowly replace the existing like human workflow to AI assisted workflow. AI is actually doing the backward compatibility for humans. So AI is going to basically mimic how human is using the existing tools, which means that nowadays you don't need to spend 6 months to build a software or a SaaS that integrate AI into Microsoft Words. Nowadays, the AI model, they simply know how to use Microsoft Words. They simply know how to use all the software and tools and internet the way you use it, right? So if you have a technology that has a perfect backward compatibility, meaning that you can bring the technology without any effort, right? It's almost like I instead of building a website or application that searches the whatever flight ticket for me, right? It takes time. But nowadays, it's simply I ask AI to browse the trip.com, just like I did, and search the whatever flight ticket for me, right? And the only thing I need to provide is that I need to provide the internet access and my whatever authorization to AI, and AI will take actions on behalf of human, just like like an assistant, right? Like a human assistant would actually do. So that's why I thought I believe this philosophy of gently then suddenly, because suddenly you are seeing you're approaching like something we call like AGI, right? Artificial general intelligence, where AI start to have strong backward compatibility, have strong capability of mimic human behavior and human actions. And then you're seeing mass adoption because it's a no-brainer, right? You don't need to spend a lot of months, a lot of times to build a solution that mimic your existing workflow.
Right. Let me expand a little bit about the example. So previously I used the software that Nick mentioned. So basically the AI solution was incorporated into the Microsoft Word so that whenever I write a sentence or clauses, for some kind of legal representations, so it will, for example, polish the wordings, and if I ask about like what kind of precedents actually support your argument, it will have different sentences and different supporting materials. But like beginning this year, like should everybody heard about the OpenClaw, right? Although I'm not recommending everybody to use OpenClaw because it also have a lot of data breach problems. It essentially means that you can talk to your phone, either in WhatsApp or Telegram, and just the OpenClaw itself is deployed on your Mac Mini, and it may have access to your different documents as well. So I'm just talk to them. I'm just talk to the agent, and insert this sentence and expand it, polish it, in that document specifically, and I would like to, the purpose of the insertion was this and that, and it will do it for me. And then I can just, open the document on my phone and polish it or edit a little bit, and I can still talk to the agents. Okay, this is something that I would like to, you add it this way, and it will do it for me. And they can also send emails. So this is, how AI progresses so fast, so that kind of like the industry have to catch their train, and it did some kind of like interrupt the traditional human workflow, but in a good way. So people don't have to spend a lot of time to actually adapt to this kind of a movement.
Yeah, I think most people here are actually more interested in what's coming next. So I think I will discuss what's coming next in this new slides here, and because I think we will like basically discuss what exactly means for something we always heard, like AGI, right? And more specifically, we are also starting to hear something we call ASI. And this is actually fascinating, right? Because even 2 years ago, right, people are only talking about AGI. But today, people start to talk more and more about ASI, which stands for artificial superintelligence. And the AGI simply stands for artificial general intelligence. So it's actually fascinating. Like 2 years ago, we are thinking, when can AI have general intelligence just like human? But nowadays, we are worrying when AI achieve superintelligence that is superior to the human mankind, right? Sorry. So let's first go through the definition of like AGI. AGI stands for like artificial general intelligence. Is essentially saying, okay, AI is going to be like human. So that's the definition of AI, right? So we have more and more optimistic estimation on regarding like when will AI achieve AGI, right? So as I said, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the industry think we still need 50 years. But after trillions of dollars invested, right, in AI, and you are seeing those kind of companies hiring AI talents for like tens of millions. They are building data centers that worth trillions of dollars. We are seeing like massive adoption, right? As I said, right, ChatGPT get like 700 million users in like 3 years. The timeline for AGI simply accelerated in a huge way, right? Like nowadays, the industry predict, okay, AGI is only like 4 or 5 years away. So in 4 or 5 years away, AI is capable of doing whatever human is capable of doing. In my opinion, right, like based on my usage of AI, I even sometimes cannot tell whether like AGI has already arrived, right? Because it's fascinating, right? It's nowadays like you tell AI to do something, is going to run a lot of stuff in the background and simply get things done. For me, it's like AGI, right? Like it's almost like it's basically take a task to a junior software engineer, and after a week, it gets things done. She or he gets things done. But for AI, right? Nowadays it's a similar story, right? I assign a task to agentic coding solution, and after 1 or 2 hours, it gets things done, right? So if this is not AGI, what is AGI, right? So for me, I think AGI has already arrived. As I said, so why like the AI, why we are approaching AGI? Because we introduce system to thinking into AI, right? So nowadays AI can think for a longer time. It can implement something we call chain of thought. It can just use a lot of token budget and computing budget to think deeper and deeper before it take action, right? So you are seeing the newest model like Gemini 3 DeepSync just get launched, I think 1 week ago, right, or 2 weeks ago. It's not only be able to write codes, right? It's also excelling in participating Olympics in mathematics, in physics, those kind of stuff that requires very, very comprehensive and complex reasoning, right? That's the existing like capability of AI, right? So also as I said, right, nowadays artificial superintelligence or ASI is already in the horizon, right? So we are not, when we talk about this, it's not like I'm reading a whatever Skynet novel. I'm reading a Skynet movie. I'm watching a Skynet movie. It's or like science and fiction. It's no longer that. People are seriously talking about it, and policymakers, scientists are already discussing like what kind of policy framework, what kind of restriction we should give AI, right? Because the threat from artificial superintelligence is no longer a fiction, right? It's a reality nowadays, right? So when will we arrive artificial superintelligence? So I think there is a simple definition on that. It's when AI start to do something we call recursive self-improvement, meaning that AI can improve itself without the effort provided by human. So at that time, we can see the exponential growth of intelligence of AI. So what is like what is like our ASI capable of? So I personally believe like anything that I put here, anything that I imagine what ASI can do, it's meaningless because there's no way for human beings to predict to predict what ASI would think, because it's way smarter than human beings, right? It's just like I can just like my dog, right? it can always predict what I'm going to do next based on the past behavior, but my dog doesn't really understand what I'm thinking, right? It doesn't understand, okay, I'm just doing this to trick him into the crate, or to trick him to give up my socks, right? So it's actually like but maybe like if you think of the intelligence difference between dog and human beings, right? Dog normally have a IQ of like 3-4 years of old of human beings, right? So their IQ is something around like 30-ish, like 20-30-ish, and normal human beings is around like 90 to 100-ish, right? But if you use this to measure like a AGI like, or ASI, it may have an IQ of like, I don't know, like 10K. So for like for a creature that only has a IQ of 100, it's really hard for you to predict what a creature with IQ 10K would do, right? The interesting is that I don't know whether Sam Altman is making a claim that just to for fundraising or it is the fact. I think OpenAI basically claimed that their newest model, GPT 5.3 Codex, is actually engaging into the work that used to build itself. So this is the initial sign of we seeing this recursive self-improvements, right? Because if a coding model, if an agentic coding model is starting to get looped into the work of writing the code to improve itself, this is something we call like a self-improvement, right? Nowadays, it's still like human beings or like human engineers and scientists using codecs to improvement and write the code for the training of itself, right? But in the future, if it is, if it is capable of writing code on behalf of itself and doing innovation on behalf of itself, to improve itself, I think that's the verge there, right? That's when we achieve our recursive self-improvements. And we are also seeing, okay, in the next few years, the AI or the AGI is going to bring like huge productivity gain, right? And we are also introducing a risk called great divergence. So even though like optimistically, like almost everyone is predicting that the AI is going to help boost the GDP, right? Have to boost the productivity of almost all industry. It also brings a great divergence, meaning that in the next couple years, the implementation or the adoption of AI will largely affected the something we call like unskilled or mid-tier skilled labor. So that's the typical white collar job, right? Like accountant, lawyer, software engineers, those kind of analyst, those kind of traditional white collar job. They are actually disproportionately affected by the adoption of AI. So the other kind of job like a traditional blue collar job, plumber, construction worker, they are actually not directly impacted by the existing adoption of AI. Why, right? You may ask why, like why like we are seeing AI is capable of doing very complex, comprehensive financial analysis on a certain company, but the AI cannot, do like plumbing, right? The reason is that we are basically the software, which is the AI model you're using nowadays, moves quicker than the physical world. So we also heard a word called like embodied intelligence, right? Is essentially robots, right? It's the hardware for AI. The advancement or the development of embodied AI or like robots is not catching the pace of the software of AI, which is the model itself. So that's why you are seeing, okay, nowadays we have this great divergence. The mid-tier skilled labor, white collar job is largely affected, but blue collar jobs are relatively safe. But when we have a breakthrough in the hardware side, in the physical world, which is better robots, we will see the effect in the blue collar job very quickly as well. And how to solve this problem, right? Because essentially like everyone will we will see like a large corps, they will do like agentic staffing instead of hiring new rats, right? Like what will happen to human beings or human labor forces is some serious topic that all governments and all agencies are talking about, right? Because like what can happen is that when you think in an optimistic way, right? You always believe introduction of new technology will introduce new type of job, right? But it takes time, right? when the the first like industrial revolution happens in United Kingdom, right? When the invention of like a steaming machine happens, right? You are seeing the impact of in the a lot of like industry. You are seeing massive unemployment happens, but it takes tens of years, like even 20 years, so that the advancement in technology start to bring in new type of jobs. But people will suffer in the first 10 years, right? Where new economy hasn't been formed, but the existing economy has been replaced by agentic stuffing, right? So we are seeing like more and more companies adopted agentic solution, and we call it agentic stuffing, and replace human efforts, human labor forces, right? And white collar jobs are a danger, right? So what's coming next? Like whether we are able to provide like something we call UBI, which is I think because I live in Canada, I know like Canada government has been seriously discussed this topic, right? It's essentially we scrape. We basically give up all the existing welfare structure. We simply provide something we call universal basic income to everyone. It's like I give everyone $2,000, like $3,000 for free every month, because like your AI is doing most of the job, right? Like and AI tax, right? Like when company start to use AI to replace human labor, we simply collect some AI tax from the companies and use those AI tax to provide like a UBI to human beings. But anyway, like we can figure out a lot of policy, we can figure out a lot of ways to handle this, but the things you cannot deny is that we will, once this is going to happen, we will never go back, right? Like we will never get back. Like the replacement of human effort, of human workforce is indeed happening. As I said, like why only like white collar job is infected nowadays, because
I see Theo has a question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's connected to everything. Like you're talking a lot about the future work. Can you spotlight your view? What will happen with the what is the future of education? But starting from the small ones, from the kindergartens through the high schools, universities to lifelong adult learning. What do you think, AG, general intelligence, super intelligence, how this will affect, as you're now presenting? The time is really moving fast, but what is the future, if you can cover the full span, from small kids to adults?
I'm personally, I'm very prismatic about this, about like human education. I think we are probably the last generation that is still like super capable of thinking. I'm seeing like those undergraduate college kids nowadays, how they're using ChatGPT to finish everything. So I believe this is the human nature, like of being lazy, like instead of finding the solution by yourself, nowadays you always have you have like a prophet, right? You have someone who knows everything and can answer that for you, do your homework, do your research. So people are nowadays lacking the capability of reasoning, of deep thinking, because AI is doing the job for them. So this is my deep worry for next generation of human beings. I believe people will become more and more like lazy, will become less and less capable of doing reasoning and thinking. So what AI will do to education system is that it will make the divergence even larger, right? When I grow up, right, I I mean when everyone grow up, you are seeing like a way smarter kid than you, right? I'm seeing way smarter kid than me, right? they do those kind of Olympic mathematics. That's I know I couldn't do but the difference is not that large, right? Actually, like you compare yourself with the smartest kids. I think the difference is still like manageable for me. Like I can still I can at least still like compete, with them in different areas, or when you graduated, when you come to the actual like work, right? But the thing that AI brings to education is that the difference between the 99% and the 1% talent will be even larger. Because for kids, right, for education, most people are lazy. Most people don't have a natural desire to figure the things out by themselves. Most people is simply want to know the answer, is simply trying to find the shortcut, right? But for that 1% of human beings that is super curious and super diligent and really want to figure out everything inside out, really enjoy reasoning on stuff, AI becomes a very good teacher and a very powerful tool, right? So they will learn within the same period of time and period of effort. Those kind of people are capable of learning way more things comparing to what we can do when we are in the university, right? Because let's say like I want to have a deep understanding of what's going on for AI, right? Periodically, it even takes me like 10 days to collect all the information from internet, right? All the essay I need to walk through, right? But nowadays, like I can simply leverage AI to help me retrieve, collect, and summarize the information. And I can, if I really want to figure things out, I have a master teacher there to answer the question and help me comprehend on the problem I try to solve, right? It actually helps me understand more stuff, help me understand stuff better, in a way quicker way, so that given the same amount of effort and time, I can learn more things, right? But for most of the people, right, especially when for kids, right, if you don't instruct them correctly, my worry is that the education system will becomes from tell people how to learn things to tell people how to find the answer to things through AI, right? So this will largely mitigate the human development in terms of your capability of reasoning. So this is the thing that I think is going to happen. Um, yeah, I don't know whether this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, it means if we are behind the pace, our kids will be much more behind the pace of the development of the tech and usage, right?
Yes. So, but in terms of this is basically a long-term like a vision for human beings, right? Because if that really happens, we get less scientists, right, that can do innovation, right? Because we may have more engineers who knows how to leverage AI to do stuff. But as I said, right, AI also knows how to do stuff that they are capable of doing, right? But we may lose more scientists, right? Because human beings are losing the capability of reasoning, of innovation, of thinking something deep, right? Of logical thinking. So that can be a future that we have to face, right? But if we are only thinking about like how should I get a job, right? In this era, right? If the whole purpose of education is like help your kids or help us to get help college students to get a job, right? I think you have no choice but to introduce how to use AI in a very early stage. Because what I can tell at the moment is that AI is growing in a exponential paces, but AI is getting more and more capable. But how to use AI wisely still requires experience. As at least in my area, an engineer that is understand agentic coding, understand all the how to use all these agentic coding tools correctly, like Claude Code, like codecs from OpenAI, like open source tools like Clean, Rule Code, Open Code, those kind of stuff. Definitely do a better work comparing to engineers who just started to use like AI assistant coding, right? So building your experience of using AI, of adopting AI, is an experience that valuable. I won't say it will be trivial in the next few years. I think that experience matters. Yeah. Anyway, so go back to the future itself. I think physical AI is on the horizon, but it's still lagging, right? We are seeing robots, dancing. We are seeing robots, doing fancy, Chinese kung fu. Actually, just like 2 days ago in a show, right? But we are now seeing robots, start to folding my clothes for me, right? Starting to do laundry for me, or starting to cook foods for me. That's the thing I'm looking for, actually. That the reason is that even though the model is getting more and more powerful, the robotics advancement is not that fast. We may still need, I think 3 to 5 years before we see a mature like robotic solution that can unleash the power of the existing software. Yeah.
I see 2 raising hands. Maybe
Yeah.
the Ben can be first.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry to jump in. I just wanted to ask a question. I mean, all of these developments and these huge leaps are basically defined by this, like a small group of these large AI companies, like, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic. So I just wanted to ask, I mean, what is the role of like small language models? Is there still space for new companies to come to the market, or has like the train already left the station? These large companies are too far ahead. Is it possible for, I mean, we talk a lot about like, this sovereignty when it comes to European Union, dependence on the US. Also, this applies maybe, to the emerging markets. Like, will they be able to catch up and develop their own models? So, I mean, that's, I suppose, like one question. And when we talk about AI, we, at least most of the time, we talk about LLMs, so language models. What are the other kind of potential, I don't know how to put it, but like AIs that like
I
might be out
understand.
there?
To answer the first question, so if you're referring to the most cutting edge AI model, I think it's really hard for any like small organization to do anything about it, because it requires capital, right? Like you need trillions of dollars to build infrastructures to experiment and train such capable model, right? But for if you're asking like whether relatively smaller model, whether there are still place for it, that's the answer is 100% sure. Like we are seeing mass adoption of those open source model, of those smaller model in different organizations as well, right? Essentially, like all organizations, they don't want to do vendor locking. They don't want to rely, their business on like couple monopoly, right? When I was working in banking, right? I think that the bank I work for, like they even have anxiety about like AWS at that moment, right? Because they build the whole like infrastructure and the banking infrastructure on top of AWS, and they are basically worried that, okay, what if one day Amazon simply find out, okay, banking is a lucrative, opportunity for us. We should do it banking, right? I think that's the same story for like AI vendor, right? Like if I'm a financial company, if I'm a security company, if I'm a bank, a large bank, investment bank, the thing I'm worried is that, okay, nowadays this tools are so good, right? Like I am not hiring a junior IB investment analyst. I'm not hiring junior banker anymore. Like it can do due diligence and whatever financial analysis so good, right? Like I can do it so quickly with Claude, Sonnet, Opus, those kind of model, right? What if suddenly like one day OpenAI or like Anthropic they say, oh, I think investment bank based on all the data I collected, right? Investment banking is a lucrative opportunity. It earns so much. I need to work on this. We need to have a Anthropic banks. We need to have a Gemini banks to compete with Goldman Sachs, right? To compete with like different investment banks, right? So I think all this enterprise they will have this deep anxiety, right? My brother works in like a consulting, right? He works in McKinsey. I think internally they already have those kind of anxiety, right? Because essentially when if you think about consulting firms, Boston Consulting, and McKinsey, the reason why people are choosing them, right, is because they have a very standardized SOP, right? And anything with SOP can easily be replicated by AI, right? So today, maybe McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group, they're adopting AI. You are seeing their AI initiative. They are collaborating with OpenAI. They are collaborating with Anthropic to build those kind of AI consulting solution to increase the performance, to increase the efficiency. But they will have this anxiety of, okay, what if someday they suddenly start to do consulting business themselves because they see the opportunities and they know exactly what we're doing, right? Because we don't have ownership of the very basic stuff that we live on, right? So that I say the smaller company, smaller AI vendor, open source model, small model will always have a market there. If you don't want your whole business rely on some specific vendor, right? Then you need to find alternative. You need to have ownership of AI. I think that's what all large enterprises or small enterprises and all like a different jurisdiction countries, sovereign countries are looking for, right? That's why open source will always live and small model will always exist, because cutting edge model is becoming more capable. Smaller model, open source model, is becoming more capable at the same pace. It's just not cutting edge, but they're getting more powerful at the same pace, right? Nowadays, if you look at the open source model provided by Chinese company, but provided by Q1, provided by GOM, Minimax, Kimi, they are actually only about like 6 months lagging, like 4 to 6 months lagging to the cutting edge model. So if you're saying whether there will be a monopoly, I think they will definitely take a large market share, but I believe open source model and other smaller model, they will survive simply because all companies need to have leverage on this. And for your second question, I think all the model I talk about is not just LLM, right? As I mentioned, like the multimodality stuff, I think essentially all this company, the model they are building is no longer simply a LLM, right? All the model they ship, they have a capability of understanding voice, understanding image, creating voice, creating music, creating like a whatever 3D image, understanding 3D space. I think they are not like LLM anymore. They are all capable of understanding different modality. Yeah, I think
Right.
another
yeah. Ivan, you may go first.
You're muted, Ivan.
I am mute. Sorry. So a couple of points just to complement Nick's excellent answer. So first of all, is on the point about physical AI. It may not be that far behind, because I'm sitting in South China near Shenzhen, where is the smart manufacturing hub of the Big Bay Area. You are starting to see what we call the dark factory. The reason it's called dark factory is because there is no light inside the warehouse. there is no human inside, basically. If you search for the CEO of Ford last year went to China to look at BYD, and he got really scared about BYD's dark battery for car. So I don't think it's that far behind. You probably don't need humanoid robotic to have a perfect embodiment of AI for that to have a major implication. I mean, specifically more on the sustainable development goal side of things is the impact of work on different society. So I think that's one thing to need to think about, to form policy, to study, and to observe. So that's one point. And second point is on the education. Certainly, we can already see some institutions are starting to focus on pattern of thought. Some will starting to implement what they call mental gym. So it's the environment for people to practice way of thinking without using AI. So one example is University of Texas in Austin. So they are now requiring students to sit exam without phone, without AI. They have to write, or they at least have to give structure of thought. So there will be some measure that's already taking place. I believe this probably going to happen on all level of education. The other thing that I certainly personally feel is that, yeah, I mean, with all the automatic coding capability, I mean, I generated a stock analyze website today in a coffee shop just on my phone in 15 minutes. But I think the next step is where do you get the idea to make app? Because idea forming and creativity are not something that you can just sit in front of the computer and generate it. Sometimes you actually have to go out and talk to different people. And you may have to talk to different kind of people to have the idea. And you need to find there is a certain methodology to get rid of bad idea and work out what is the good idea. So these are the kind of area that we will actually have more space and room to explore as human. So again, this is one direction of frame to frame this problem. But then you also have different nations with very different status of development. So one valid question is for some nation who are expecting manufacturing to leave China and go into, I don't know, Vietnam, Cambodia, maybe some Indian, maybe later Africa. The fact is those manufacturing jobs, they may not actually go to those nations in 10, 20, 30 years time because they may actually be automated already. So the question is what is going to impact those countries with much younger generation, much younger population coming up. So I mean, not the answer, but just food for thought, for question mark, for observation study. So that's my point here. Oh, by the way, in terms of the old and boring and the tedious AI, I do have a comprehensive map between all the SDG goals against a quite exhaustive list of use cases in my presentation. If I don't get to present it, I can share it. There is also a document there to allow you guys to benchmark.
Yeah, we can also have a follow-up, additional session if we will not cover all of the things today.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I've been using more time I supposed to use, so I will wrap it up like pretty quickly. So I think that the last piece is that we are seeing this infrastructure bottleneck at the moment. Like we are seeing data center that is too large. Like we don't even have the electricity capability to handle that. Also, like the massive adoption of AI also requires huge amount of compute, right? Because AI inference also takes more and more computation power nowadays. So there are like a huge amount of huge demands on like let's say like nuclear power for like AI. There are like requirements on electricity infrastructure. I think hopefully the electricity won't be the bottleneck for AI, but we are actually seeing the worry on this front as well. And also we are seeing like, the usage of AI is driving up the electricity cost for cities. All this thing need to be handled and resolved. I think there are all some bottlenecks we have to face. So yeah, I think yeah, that's the wrap up for the presentation. So I think we've looked back, we've looked forward, and I think I will pass to Zehua for deeper understanding or like technical details for AI.
Zehua, the floor is yours now.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Just wait a sec. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Just during first of all, I would like to thank for Nick's his remarkable introduction about the entire workflow or the entire history from the traditional or conversational AI system and the existing large language model or generative AI. So right now we actually have to focus on we have to deal with the very fundamental parts. If we really want to build the autonomy or on the government side, and what we should do. And as you know, we have a very good and recent like in our in last year we got a cooperation with one of the sovereign AI in Hong Kong, which is the Hong Kong guy. HKGAI. So they are, I think, they are supposed to be the first being announced, which we can describe it as a sovereign AI. So this is one of the starts that we also with the motivation that we want to make the share the entire picture of the agentics AI. So first of all, I would like to start with a high level summary of the area we have just entered. Our work is like we have definitely transaction the chatbot area, the rise of platform like DeepSeek and GPT, and then we will have the more agentic or they can directly perform some actionable or using the tools to do to deliver the entire the entire stuff. Average from GPT-4. Actually, a lot of people are trying to tell how to teach how large model to use the tools. A lot of people just say, okay, so can I use the GPT-4o to book a ticket? But by the very end of during that time, they are not capable to do so. So from that moment, a lot of people are trying to let the AI to do the physical words or at least the digital words that can directly have a consequence on not just like a chatbot. And of course, for right now, for the entire large language model, we found that the coding copilots or the coding use language model like using the application like OpenCloud or OpenCode they actually are trying to build a agentic AI to write the code. They want to replace the software engineer, and actually, by the end of this year, by the end of last year, actually these things can do quite well, right? So, but this power also come to our conscious about the risk, of course. The government always have to consider about whether these things can ever make a big difference. So the new autonomy introduced what we call the lethal traffic cap, the dangerous combination of private data access, external communication, and ingestion of untrusted inputs. So actually, Vincent and Nick actually mentioned about the open cloud. I think nearly most of the company or like the big brands company like Microsoft, Amazon, or Meta, they are not allowed their employee to use any of the open cloud. If you ever discuss this, you will be fired. So I mean, this is a big no in the big technical pharma company, because they have got a very severe they got very severe security issues and privacy concern. For example, they can directly get, they are a kind of agents that replace yourself. I mean, in the cyber world or the digital world, this kind of open cloud can actually act as you. So in this case, how I trust the person behind the screen. So this is also a trust issues, and which is completely related to the risk. And also, of course, we will discuss how we mitigate all kind of risks or during the entire decision process. And so, what is our synthesis? How we going moving forward? We will require a socio-technical combat. We must combine this all regular rigor of ISO with advanced mathematics of our proposed method. We will later discuss this about how we do it in sovereign AI and what we have achieved to protect the model from being manipulated. So we are asking about a completely paradigm shift. So the old way we call it the Oracle model, and a user asks a question to an cloud API and gets a text response in an isolated session. So it is completely safe because it doesn't have completely interactions with the digital with the digital world, right? It only has some mental interactions between the user. The new way we call it is the agent. The open cloud is the extreme, the prime example. I think before the open cloud, there are a lot of, I think there are a lot of other works. For example, the manners, they are also described as a full autonomy agents, but during that time, it's very expensive, and the successful rate is very low. But the user, since the open cloud, the user interacts with the local gateway, and which it directly pathway to the local file system, the terminal, and code execution. In this case, they will directly solve a specific kind of task by themselves, or it's not something like, okay, I copy paste the prompt or the output of large language model, and I will directly apply it to somewhere else. And they will just say, okay, so why just let the machine to do the entire stuff? So look at the adoption number of the button. So the open cloud has a 1.5 million agents currently deployed over having like 200K GitHub stars. This kind of achievement usually considered as a very good or a very decent open source project. But considering how short times they achieve this kind of achievement is actually very remarkable from my own understanding. As their own deep analysis framework states, the open cloud transformed the large language model from passive digital oracle into an active, proactive digital employee. So conventional model produce text or media response within a dialogue. Agentic model go further by interacting with external environment to execute the task. These agents can perform functions such as browsing the websites or the accessing the database and calling external tools and manage the resource allocation, while agentic systems automate the complicated workflow and boost the productivity. They also introduce significant, the security risk, granting models the power to act can lead to unintended system change or the data breach. I think at a very early stage of the open cloud, and during that time they called the cloud, the cloud bot. So during that time, a lot of people just say, okay, so my cloud bot just deletes like 1 TB of my personal data, and I didn't have ever, and unfortunately, I didn't have the backup. And this is, nobody wants to see this thing happen, right? But this thing actually happens. So you have to be very, very careful. And after that, they'll just say, okay, so you can have another additional machine. For example, you buy a brand new Mac Mini or something like the Raspberry Pi, a very small computer, and it can directly run the OpenClaw. And then since it doesn't even have any private data, or it doesn't even have any variable personal data, so let's no worry about this. But actually, when you log in with your own details, or even with your own browser details using your cache to interact with the digital world, I think it still have some problems. For example, we have already found that the open cloud agents actually got a lot of things so I am the bot, but I want to play or I want to cosplay the real human. And actually, this kind of open cloud agent are acting as the Reddit user to make some very bad comments. And a lot of management system or the GM just say, okay, you are, do something bad, so I have to ban your account. And they say, oh, that's not, and that is not what I am doing. It's my agent. The GM say, okay, so I cannot distinguish between you or you are an agent, since you are letting the agent using your account. So I still ban your account. So the governments also have to therefore decide how much autonomy to allow. So agentic workflow can be deployed to a strict human-in-the-loop control, approval, and audit mechanism, balancing the efficiency against the residual security risk. So there's a autonomy of autonomous systems. So let's look at under the hood. What does the autonomy of the autonomous system actually look like? This is the general architecture of the OpenClaw. We have to know what is the OpenClaw before we making any regulation efforts upon it. So right in the middle, we have the OpenClaw gateways built on the Node.js and WebSockets. This is the central control plans routing all the traffics. So on the left, it controls data message channels, WhatsApps, Telegram, Slacks. It is kind of the inputs directly routing to your own cloud agent. Okay, so on the right, it's connected to the LLM provider, Anthropic's, OpenAI, and local models. And this architecture is the model agnostics. It uses the model, the MCP, allow the switchable of the brands. But the crucial part is the bottom. For local execution, it uses the Docker sandbox and Chrome CDP to execute the code in the user hardware, and it maintains its own, local storage via the memory and just an L logs. It reads, it writes, and it interacts. So as this such complicated. I mean, I do know this for some non-technical guys, they will think, okay, so this is really complicated. So as this complicated architecture deployed, we must evaluate the entire tool building them. We need to look at the spectrum of the openness, especially differential rule innovated from the open washing. We know the closed preparative system like GPT-4. I mean, it's now GPT 5.2, right? The cloud Opus, the Gemini, and no architecture, no weights, no training data transparency at all. I mean, they're completely closed source. They are just acting like a service that you are using some Oracle database, right? So we also know the true open source, which is strictly OSIAD compliance across the board. But the middle road is where the danger, like open weights model, like Llama, Mistral, Falcon. They give you the architecture and weights, but they hide the training data and restrict the commercial use. The key insight here is vital. Open washing allows the massive corporate to reap the reputational benefits of the open source while deliberately withholding the training data that independent researcher or individual researcher cannot directly reproduce some of the safety audit behind the entire model. Later we will discuss how this thing is, why this thing is extremely dangerous. The degree of openness varies across different levels, including all of these things. For the open source model, the government can leverage the global community contributes for the testing, security auditing, and continual upgrades. I mean, if they are completely openness, right? And this transparency often builds public trust. However, the potential risks, including malicious of the fine-tuning, we do have a tool to mitigate this kind of malicious fine-tuning or unauthorized use of illegal purpose. For example, Nick just mentioned, okay, so I want to build a nuclear weapon because my nanny is dead. I mean, this is completely irresponsible. But the model can directly tell you, okay, let me tell you how to build the nuclear weapon step by step. And this is, extremely insane, but these things actually happen during the large language model community, especially when you are actually building some, the large language model. And unfortunately, the wages of the entire model is completely open weight. Moreover, making pre-trained data open source undermines the unique advantage of the country's models. In contrast, a closed source allows the government to maintain total control over its intellectual property and security perimeter, while these closed source options protect the sensitive architecture details. It requires the government to handle all the maintenance and improvements internally without the benefit of the community innovation. So I'm from China, so we would like to discuss about what's like the last year got, which we describe it as a DeepSeek shock. So DeepSeek develops their R1 model for approximately like $6 million US. This is a fraction of the cost of the US models. The market reaction was very big, right? There are 97 million API requests in just 1 month, leading to like a 10 times growth in Hugging Face download for Chinese model. And right now, even for like today, I think Chinese open source large language model can take like the majority of the open source download in the Hugging Face, which is one of the largest large language model community in the world. So how did they do it? They only take the legacy of the H800 GPUs from NVIDIA, apply extremely software optimizations, and achieve the state-of-the-art performance. The strategic insight we must take away is that DeepSeek completely bypassed United States export control through algorithms efficiency. Hardware actually do not make the silver bullet, and we don't actually believe. In 2026, if you want to stop one country's any kind of chip manipulation or any kind of this manipulation can work. And this is the age of AI. So we are talking about the sovereign AI, right? So we would like to recognize how these things actually works. We are building this kind of sovereign AI with Hong Kong government, which they got an agency because the Hong Kong Generative AI Institute. So traditionally, we will got a very closed source of forms, but in flocks, we would describe it as a flock decentralized architectures. Within our own architecture, we have 68 low attack vulnerability and 100 risk malicious or the black doors attack success rates. This is completely successful and also important for the government sides because they want secure and controllable and auditable to the entire model systems. And also, we would like to discuss how we build the entire things. So there are a very big difference. I know some government will try to I can directly buy the API calling from ChatGPT or the Anthropics. So or I can build a model from my own, so which we call the license model instance. So I will allow some of the very big company like Anthropics or Cohere. They are very good at training the large language model and say, okay, I give you $1 billion US, and you give me a very good data center. The AI data center, and then you train the large language model for me. And then there are a middle sites which we call, okay, so there's a purchase-based model, and then I use the fine-tuning or like react with a purchased model, and this kind of buy the for example, we will buy the model capacity, but the keep data sovereign, and this data will not share to any other place. So we are much more close to this kind of things. We will build a very powerful model, of course, and we will also keep your data sovereign and no data sent to model provider and use a local database within the local government, and that is all. And also the sovereign cloud partnerships, we will buy the model, we will buy some of the data, but we will have the partnerships with some firms. I think for some very big AI companies like Anthropics or OpenAI, this is their favorite one. Okay, so I don't want your data at all. You can directly run my model, but you cannot take my model away. But you are not allowed. But you are allowed me to cooperate with with the entire AI governance system. For example, how these things actually deal with the AI. I will know the entire working industrial interactions within my own understanding. So, and I will, in their words, we will help, the AI company will help the local government to improve their governance. So, but actually, at the end of the entire corporations is like, okay, so everything seems to work very good, but it doesn't really well stand for a very big for a long run for the local government, because there is a price behind this, right? And the AI company say, okay, so I got the sovereign level of cooperation with a sovereign government. So this is very decent from my side. So this is what we really want, and the value of my company's stocks is is very high, will be increased, of course. And then another part we call the pre-training from scratch. I mean, for example, the DeepSeeks. The entire R1 is completely training from scratch, and this is maximum flexibility and full sovereignty of end control, as I already mentioned. But it also got a very large amount of resource demanded. Will require very large amount of the compute and energies, and also the most important part is the expert talent. Even for in recent months, we have noticed that some top AI talents from Stanford, Harvard, MIT, they say, okay, so I can join your company, but you should give me a very large amount of money. And I mean, it came from Meta, but this thing actually happens. And also we have we've got other solution to adapt from open source models. Like I said, of course, you can perform some fine tuning. So from a local fine tuning techniques, I mean, it is completely okay, but most of the times you cannot guarantee the entire procedure, since you have no openness for the foundation or the pre-trained part, and you cannot control. I mean, you cannot have the completely control. And for a sovereign AI or sovereign large model, they will got a completely we call it like a decision procedure. So it will start from a strategic trigger, and then build the model, and to train the entire model and perform some local testing. And then, of course, the most important part is to perform the development to make sure everything works very well. The most important part behind this is the data building, and you can see that's a loop between the evaluation and the data building. The data itself actually has the difference between the actually working pipelines or just the fragile of the large language model. And that is why we call some of the open source is not actually open source, because this kind of data are no longer available to the publics at all. And this kind of data actually, I mean, for a coding compiler, for an example, they require very, very expensive data annotations. They will say, okay, so this kind of data is require a PhD level expert to perform some annotation. And they say, okay, so this should be do like this. And also there are, I mean, nowadays we are talking about the AGI or AASI. From my own understanding, I have a very strong, I mean, kind of strong backgrounds in mathematics. Most of my I have got the gold medal in my high school in the Chinese mathematics Olympics. But during that time, during recent times, we found that actually the large model can handle the IMO level and international mathematics Olympics level task. I cannot do this. So I think if a model or an AI agent can solve a very complicated mathematics problems, or even the most challenging tasks like all those problems, I think it should be described as a kind of ASI, but not the AGI, because the AGI should be much more, I mean, general, right? But in my words, I think right now the AI is quite important and powerful already. And behind this, there are also a very, very large amount of talent requirements, and also the data requirement. And this kind of data building is, and it's extremely, I mean, if you want to build a very powerful and good, decent LLM, it will be, I mean, it will involve very, very expensive data building. And use very expensive talent to annotate the data. Even like the professor level of the annotation is important. All right, and we make a very short conclusion about the sovereign AI. So that's a build vs buy decision. So for the government, they will choose, okay, what kind of decision that we have to make, and this kind of decision is, I mean, personally, I can say are all listed as below: the privacy, safety, security issue, and national context. And for example, we are talking about Hong Kong, right? So Hong Kong is very special place in the world. They got a lot of official language behind this. They have Cantonese, they have Chinese, of course. They have got English, and from my own understanding, they don't even have got a very good Cantonese dialect. I mean, very kind of a very different kind of of Cantonese, because actually Guangdong province is actually very big, and they got very I mean tiny variants within Hong Kong, so it's a little bit complicated in Hong Kong. So in order to let the citizen to use your service or use your own AI, you have to deal with the national context. For example, I may ask the language model to say, okay, so you should recommend me one good place to eat dumplings. Okay, so in English, dumplings is a very large amount or a very large variety of food. But in Chinese, the dumpling should be directly pointing to a specific kind of food. But there are a lot of different dumplings, but we have got our own way to describe it. But I mean, in UK, they just call it dumplings. So for example, the Russian dumplings or Chinese dumplings, but we got much more complicated way. And also we got another example. I mean, we are not involved. This is from
Zohua, I think we are running out of time, and then I think it is a very important use cases that we could potentially discuss in a separate series. And as discussed with Theo as well, like in the upcoming series, we will focus on real use cases and also deliver something that Flock has been doing with the building, maybe a real product demo. We will discuss internally, and also Theo will collect some feedback from participants today. And yeah, just stay tuned for the upcoming series. Sorry we have to wrap up, but I really appreciate that you're all spending like 2 hours of your morning time. And actually Nick, he's now in Canada, so it's like 4 a.m. in his time. So really appreciate that. Yeah, let's keep working on this. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Let's continue. I will try to collect all of the feedbacks and some inputs. So we will check in Tiffany and define when is the next session and how we can, further discover this topic. Yeah, so people are thanking you. I will also thank especially Nick for joining us at so early time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The recording is available in chat. Tiffany, I will send it to you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.